for daily Ask Reddit. r/Ask Reddit. People who worked in restaurants. What was the worst customer that you had to deal with? If you like the video, drop a like and subscribe so you never miss a video. I worked in Domino's. I had a guy throw a handful of pennies at me while laughing. The 30 odd cents was my tip. He was mad when I turned around and walked away without picking any of them up. His exact words were, "Oh, my money not good enough for you? Fine, I'll never order Domino's again." I've never had a customer fire themselves like that before. It was great. I love when the "I'll never come back" threat comes out. Like, you think my salary is at all affected by you coming in? Please never come back. It's one less person to yell at me. Barista here. Had a guy that regularly came in and ordered a complicated drink. He always finished the order by asking for a finger swirl in the drink. If you gave him a confused look, he would say, "Well, how else am I gonna taste you?" He was the worst. Oh god, I had a similar dude when I was in college. Said to me to stick my finger into the beer bottle so he could taste something sweet, mayo. Worked at a deli once. Guy asked for a ham on purpose and would say he liked the taste. Virginia ham. I used to work in a bar that sold very old booze. A drunk man tried to impress his friends by chugging from a bottle of Mero from the early 60s. He had to pay for the whole thing since his lips touched it and it was useless. Cost him around $800. Had he poured it into his mouth, would he have loopholed out of this? The scientific term is waterfalling. Worked in a popular restaurant for a while. We usually have quite a long wait. 30-40 minutes waits during dinner service, and people are told by the hosts about this. There was this lady that got fed up with the wait after 10 minutes. She stormed into the restaurant, stood next to a table of 4 people and literally asked them, "Are you guys done? We've been waiting for a long time now and would like to have the table if you guys are just chatting." Was completely mind blown how people are able to not give a duck and pull something like this in public. Way back in the 80s, I worked in a restaurant that was a favorite of a celebrity chef of those days, Jeff Smith, the frugal gourmet. Never seen a bigger shat than that guy. Literally make our servers cry. Nothing was ever right. He was beyond rude and condescending, yet he kept coming back. He had a reputation of being a jerk off camera. Eventually he was disgraced by being outed as a child predator and was quickly forgotten by all. Our restaurant was a good place. Another celebrity chef of the time, Graham Kerr, the galloping gourmet, was always a pleasure to have visit. In his day, Graham Kerr had the energy level of Gordon Ramsay, the health consciousness of Paula Deen, and the gleeful euphoria of man well acquainted with ecstasy. He was fun to watch. The best part was always him sitting down to eat what had cooked. That rapt silence in the studio as he savors the plate, then the whispering approval when he eventually puts the forkful in his mouth and declares delicious. Work in a place that is frequented by local families and youth sports teams. On Sundays, this one large group of people always come in, and they are the worst. The parents drink and ignore their preteens who run around playing games in the entire restaurant, disrupting everyone else. They have tried to walk in a party of 45 during end of year sports party season when we are booked solid and get mad that there isn't enough space for them, and they modify everything like crazy and leave 0 in a tip. It's at least once a month the entire group comes in, and weekly for some of the individual families. Edit. Wow, thanks for the upvotes. Been a rough time, like unbelievably, and this oddly helped. Also, I'm not a server. I'm a cook who happens to take orders, pour beer, run food, clear tables, and do dishes. But primarily I cook. This is the reason many restaurants have an automatic gratuity on parties above a certain size. One large party can steal a server's entire evening, and having them not tip is painful. After a wedding reception ended at our facility, we were cleaning, and I began the cleaning process on our espresso machine. The party was over almost a half hour already. The process takes 12 minutes. People were still there as the party slowly let out, and the father of the bride asks me for an espresso. I told him I could get it to him, as we have a strict policy of always trying to satisfy our guests' needs, but the machine was cleaning, and it would be done in about 10 minutes. He begins ranting about how much he paid for the wedding and stormed to our banquets manager and told them I refused to make it for him. Manager is at bag and starts ripping me in front of the guy. I show both of them that the machine is just finishing the cleaning process and it was impossible to make it beforehand. I got suspended for 2 weeks. A homeless guy who came in, actively dripping of blood from his hands, and started screaming at me and threatening me because I wouldn't give him a bakery case item without him paying. He was dripping blood all over the counter and spitting everywhere until I threatened to call the cops. A huge group of clearly rich kids who came in, stole a bunch of drinks, and left the dining room trashed. A guy who *DEMANDED* I take money from our tip jar to help him pay for his order and argued with me when I said no. People who would place large orders or even take home a cake and eat half of it, then flip that and demand a refund when they'd find out it was all vegan, even though that fact was well advertised.